Deal Surgeons, Elite Masterminds, what's going on? This is Diamond Life. And yeah, so this is a psychology series podcast. I haven't did a psychology series in a while, okay, inside the mind. So this is pertaining to traders, people who trade the markets, okay, stocks, crypto, whatever. But also this can be looked at as another way, okay? So I want to talk about the power of knowing, okay? The power of knowing what you're going to do, the power of knowing what you're going to achieve and pull off. Okay, this is not believing, this is not hoping, this is not wishing, okay? This is knowing. Now, when you tell somebody you know something, if you could, this is how you can tell somebody's on your team. Let me give you a quick quiz on how to do it. So let's say you're working on trading or whatever it is you're working on, trying to be a lawyer, doctor, whatever. But this is a trader's channel, so I'm talking about trading, but put it for whatever you're working on. If you tell somebody, just say, hey, I know I'm going to be a millionaire trader, and see what their response is. I did this recently or in the past. And what happened was instead of being congratulated and say, yeah, you're going to do it, what happened was I got covertly heckled. And the way that happens is if somebody starts asking you questions about what you say you know about your own life. This has nothing to do with the person. I could see if it was a business partner and they saying you know something and they're like, well, this affects me and my future, so I need to ask questions. But just imagine like a friend of the family or something like that, or a coworker or something like that, questioning you about how do you know, like getting all into your business as to how you know what you say you know about. This is how you could tell if somebody's on your team or not. So they asked me and I said, well, I just know. And then they asked again, well, how do you know? How do you know you're going to be a millionaire trader? How do you know this whole thing? How do you know you're going to make $100,000 a month or a week? How do you know these things? See, instead of just saying, yes, you can do that, or saying, wow, you know, that's amazing that you know that. You know, other people need to understand how to know things in their life as well. And, you know, I can see that you're continuing with this. What I got heckled for knowing. Okay. And so that's just a test to show who's on your team or not. But let's get back to the power of knowing. You have to know what you're going to achieve with the trading. You have to understand these things. You have to know it because you're going to get heckled. You're going to get people talking about you, talking down on you, acting like this trading thing is a joke, is not going to work. They think you're insane. Yeah, I'm talking directly to you. They think you're insane. I know that they think this because they thought it about me. You're in front of a computer every single day. Okay? Whether you're working on a computer all day or you got a job, the whole point is you're on the computer and you're looking at charts, you're looking at screens, and these people, family members, friends, coworkers, or whatever, they don't see the results. Now, to these people's credit, if you're working on something, you don't see any results, then I understand why somebody wouldn't believe or they would have doubts. But this conversation here is about the power of knowing. The only way you're going to know something is if you see it over and over and over again. Would you agree? Like, you know your name is what your name is, right? Because you've been taught that and you've been saying it and other people been saying it to you over and over and over again your whole life, correct? We don't know that the sun is going to come up tomorrow. That's what I told this person as well. I said about the power of knowing, they said, how do you know? I said, well, it's kind of like, I used a Russell Brunson on him. He said, you got to use the word, it's kind of like. I said, it's kind of like the sun coming up tomorrow. Do we know it's going to come up tomorrow? Are we psychics? No, but you kind of know. And they still kept questioning me after that. That's why I was like, wow, man. You know, people are offended that you know about your life, especially if you don't have the results that show that these things are going to happen. If you don't have a car, if you don't have a job, or even a place to live, if you don't have proper clothing or whatever it is, proper food, and you're saying that you're going to achieve this and achieve that, and you know it's going to happen, people get jealous about people who know because they don't know about their own lives, okay? People get jealous at people who know because they can never create anything close to what you're creating and what is going to be destined for you. You have to understand these things. See, when you know, you're going to be cocky about it. I talked about this on my fitness podcast, which I may actually post this too. I said it's a difference between being cocky and confident. It's a difference. When you're cocky, you're going to tell people before it happens. You're going to tell people before it happens, like I'm going to get in shape, or I'm going. And cocky is knowing. Confidence and belief is kind of like, I believe, I hope that it happens. Okay. I told somebody more than once in the past, I said, I'm way past hope. Okay. I'm way past believing and all that. I'm into knowing. And you have to know by what you see. So if you're a trader, you have to understand that you have to see these moves happen over and over and over again. Whether you're making money from them or not, or whether you're trading them or not, you need to be taking screenshots. You need to be taking screenshots of these charts. You need to be taking screenshots of what you see every day. This is the only way you're going to know. You don't have to necessarily make money from these things, but you have to see that these things are happening over and over again and say, you know what? I see it. I have the screenshots. I can't deny this anymore. This moves happens every single day at the exact same time every single day. All I got to do is get in front of the train and get hit, which means you make money. Okay. So you have to be taking screenshots. You have to be trading on demo. You have to you have to start practicing. That's the only way you're going to know. And people, like I said, they don't like you knowing. I've seen it. But see, I'll throw it in people's faces. That's just how bold I am, because I know what I know with my trading. And you have to know these things, but you also have to be time tested. This is the power of knowing. The only way you're going to have the power of knowing is if you're time tested. Okay, imagine talking to somebody at a bar, or a friend trader, or somebody who's a lawyer, or whatever you're working on. This is specifically for traders. But you can send this to somebody else if they're working on something and they're committed to it. You have to be willing to die for the dream, people. What that means is you have to be willing to let relationships go. You have to be willing to sacrifice everything for the goal. And it's nothing wrong with not be willing to die for it. But guess what? When you come up against somebody who is willing to die for it, and y'all competing for the same thing, I believe the person who's willing to die is going to get it every time. Because I asked somebody recently, I said, they claim that they was as serious as they are about their basketball dream, okay, that I am with the trading. And I said, okay, well, because I don't like when people try to compare to something what a commitment and is so fierce. Because I understand I'm everybody not on this level, because I'm really willing to die for trading, period. See, when you're really willing to die for it, when you're really willing to get to the point where you know, it's when you let people know how committed you are. So I asked the person, I said, well, I understand, I'm not doubting that you're as serious as you say you are with your basketball dream as I am with trading, but let me ask you this, are you willing to die for it? And they said, no. You have to be willing to die for the dream. You have to be willing to die for whatever it is that you're working on. And if you're not, then you won't ever get to the point, in my opinion, of knowing. You won't get to the point where it's a conviction. It's not a belief anymore. It's a conviction. It's like, I don't understand. Some people, it's kind of like working a job. This is kind of a similar situation without me going into too much detail. Let's say you're working a job right now and you're talking to your boss, and say your boss is the one that actually is questioning you about your belief and everything about the trading. And you work on your job, you could tell them about what's going on because you work part-time or whatever, or you work full-time, and they understand that people do stuff outside their job, and you're sharing with your boss about the dream or whatever. And you start talking this talk like, yeah, I'm gonna make it, nobody gonna stop me and all that. And I guess they started looking at you like, well, you're working this job right now. If that's so true, then, and they start making little references like, if that's so true, then, maybe I fire you and see what happened. You have to let them know in a situation like that, like, okay, well, fuck around and find out. Okay. If I am who I say I am, then I'm not afraid of getting fired. Right. I'm not afraid of people trying to take something from me, thinking that's going to hamper me or harm me or anything. It may, if you really are unstoppable, if you really know, if you really, that dude or that chick or whatever you're working on, you're willing to die for it, nothing can stop you. Whether they fire you on a job, whether they try to put you in a scenario where they think the circumstances will, try to harm you. Like if you don't have a car and somebody's trying to control that, and you got the car, you're driving every day, and they trying to they could take it away from you. You have to understand that you cannot be stopped. And the only way you cannot be stopped is if you know. The only way you're going to know is if you're time tested. If you've been working on something for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and you have not stopped and you have not taken any days off, that's how you know. If you can't get yourself to the point where you don't have any results and you still keep going, I'm talking about every single day, not taking the foot off the brake, off the gas, and you're like, I'm either going to achieve this goal, I'm not going to be shit in life. That's willing to die for. If you're not there, then you're not going to get to a level of knowing where you have that's going to sustain you, that's going to keep you no matter what happens. I'm trying to tell you what I know, because I know. I've been time tested with the trading. I've went for a long period of time with no results, and Anthony Tillman kept going. Nothing is stopping this train. Nothing. You can take something from me. You can try to do something in my life to try to harm me, to try to spite me. Anthony Tillman will still get to the goal. And I tell people I have already achieved it. That's when you know. When you start talking in past tense, Neville Goddard, ED. When you start talking in past tense, like, man, yeah, I remember when I was like this. I remember I was talking to somebody like that about this. They was thinking like, what the fuck, what are you talking about? You're right here in front of me. You're talking about you did do this and you have done that. Sometimes it gets to the point where the reality, you can't even retell the reality you're in now and the reality that has already happened. You really live in that rich life. Sorry with my words, but you live in that rich life or whatever that is to you. Okay. So I gave you the Thomas Crown Affair example. The guy knew they could not touch him because he had already returned the painting. The police and all that, they were in his world when they thought Thomas was in their world. He already knew they couldn't touch him. He already knew it was nothing they could do. He was just bored. He knew that it was nothing that was going to happen. Nothing bad was going to happen to him. Even though people was trying to set things up to harm him, he had already won the game because he already returned the painting. So I say that to say it may not be that good of an example, but that's my favorite movie. But basically, I'm saying that this guy knew that he could not be touched. And they went through the swings. The police was like trying to go. They went through his house. They like was recording him and like, following him all around the place, trying to infiltrate his team. But it was nothing that these people could do because he had already won the game. Okay. So this is about the power of knowing, people. You have to understand. You have to know. The only way you're going to know is if you're willing to die for the dream. Physically die for the dream. And it also means relationships have to die. That means that it don't matter what situation that you're in, you are unstoppable. I had some people that try to threaten me with a situation like, trying to hang things over my head. And I tried to explain to them that I was unstoppable and nothing could stop this train. I was going to get to where I was going to get anyway with the trading. But people don't believe that you really know because they don't know about their own life. So we can't blame people that they're not at this level of knowing. Because I'm like, I tried to show you who I am and you didn't believe me. Okay. So you get to a point where you stop trying to convince people that you know and that you're unstoppable and you just sit back and wait if certain things happen. But for me personally, nobody in this world with trading, I tell you right now, Anthony Tillman recorded is a multi-millionaire with the trading. I don't care how long I've been doing it, that I haven't had results. Guess what? The results that I haven't had, I understand why I haven't had the results. Right? So what people don't understand is that people are getting better at these things every single day. And at some point it gets to 100% and then they end up living their life. Most times it's actually beyond what they actually was planning for. So I'm trying to get you guys to the power of knowing. You have to be time tested. Number one, just to rehash before we get off the call. Are you time tested? You can't say, I know with real confidence unless you've been time tested. Time tested is not seeing results for a long period of time or a short period of time, or really a long period of time where you're not making money, but you're still continuing with this dream, right? You're not seeing progress, but you're still continuing with this dream. Have you been time tested? Okay, I'm not debating the fact that you don't know. I'm just asking you, Have you been time tested with this dream that you have? I know I have more than once with this. Okay. I just got to the point where I was tired of starting things and stopping things, starting things and stopping things. I just got to the point where it's like, when do you put your foot down and say, this is going to happen or I'm going to die, period. Like, it has to happen this way. Because see, I'm telling you right now, when you make that kind of decision, that helps you get to the point of knowing. Because your brain does not have any, even on a subconscious level, your brain does not have anywhere to go but to make this thing work that you're working on. You're going to see things differently that people who not willing to die for, who don't want to take themselves to the point of really knowing, where they can tell people that certain things are going to happen before they happen. See, that's how you really know. You're going to say it with conviction. You're going to say it. You may not have a car. You may be on your last leg to other people. You may not have a dime to your name, but you're going to look people in their fucking souls and tell them, look, motherfucker, I'm a multi-millionaire with this trading shit. You can take that or leave it. And if you don't believe it and you don't want to be on this train, then so be it. But I'm going to get to where I'm going to go regardless, whether you believe it or not. If you don't want to believe that, if you want to be on this train, then fuck off. See, you can talk to people like that or send that kind of energy when you know something. So while they're laughing at you, like, ha, 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 oh, this guy ain't got this, this girl ain't got this. Well, they're just out of their mind. They're crazy. This is a ridiculous situation. Okay. But I just told you what was going to happen in your face, in your soul, and you seen all this going on in my life. So you have to know that you're going to win. You have to know that you have already won, people. And the only way you're going to know that you already won is if you know. And the only way you're going to know is if you have conviction. The only way you're going to have conviction is if you've seen things happen over and over and over again. The only way you're going to see things happen over and over again is if you're trading these things on demo, or if you're recording screenshots of these moves, of these patterns. You have to see this stuff happen over and over and over again. You have to be getting small wins with your live trading account, quote unquote, live trading account. You have to see these things happening over and over again. Live. It's cool on demo, but you have to see small wins happening live. And then that's when you get yourself to the point of knowing. Okay. So this is Diamond Life, man. I just haven't did a psychology podcast in a long time, and I want to go ahead and do one. I'm out here in the country doing this call, man. It just definitely was needed. So hopefully I said something to get people to go to that next level of knowing, because you have to say it's going to happen this way, or I'm going to die. There's no other way out. You have to make it's like this has to happen. And when you do that, it don't matter how long it takes, and you can't really blame people for not seeing it your way, because they have never committed themselves to the level to the point where they're going to die for something. Okay. These people have not been entrepreneurs or anything like that, probably just working a job. And even if they have been an entrepreneur, they probably was doing 5 things at once or 3 things at once. So the only way you just let people talk and you have your confidence is if you know. It's a difference between knowing, having belief, and all that kind of stuff. You have to know. And I just gave you the formula to knowing, and that's the power of knowing. Okay. So this is Diamond Life. Appreciate you guys listening in. Just remember that you're a champion because you choose to be. All right, be great.